everyone, welcome to another Random Talk Sunday, and today I thought it would be interesting to briefly go over a topic that I think is somewhat near and dear to a lot of people. Personally, it's not necessarily as near and dear to me as it is probably to other people, but I'm going to talk about my opinion about it, and that is pets. Yes, pets. Pets, I think, are sort of probably something that I think, in particular, the country I live in, the United States, I think pets are fairly common for people to have. I'll constantly see my neighbors with their pets walking along the street, or, I'll constantly hear dogs barking excessively. I'll see cats that come by to our house and either just take up space or go away, or yeah, it's just they're 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 cute. And again, I love all animals. I think all animals are adorable and should have a place within our society, but I think there is an obsessiveness when it comes to pets, for some people, meaning that they take either way too many pets in that they cannot personally take care of, and and there's also this other obsession that I think a lot of people have with pets, and that's sort of to dress them up and make them feel like they're a human being when they're not a human being, they're an animal. So I think there's just this bizarre nature that we've surrounded with when it comes to pets. It's almost like we treat them as if they're um, as if either they're like people, or they sort of become our people. Like we replace people with pets as our main source of attention and care. And I'm not saying giving a pet attention is a bad thing, but I think there is this kind of underlying obsession that some people have with animals that I personally don't understand. Especially when you can't take care of them, and where you spend all of this money taking care of a pet too, like constantly prepping them and grooming them, and you basically you treat it sort of like a kid. And the thing is a pet is not a child. A pet is not a human being. A pet is a pet, and it's almost like this very strange underlying kind of just obsession that we have with it, and I don't understand why. Um, and I honestly feel that if I were to ever have pets, and I did have pets in the past, I have had two bunnies. Unfortunately, they both passed away. Um, One of them would constantly bite me, and she was the one that actually ended up living the longest out of the two. Um, so yeah, I think there's just this underlying appreciation that we give to pets in a way that I think can be on the borderlines a little bit too crazy, at least in my opinion. Especially when you're having them dress up and constantly grooming them, and and getting an excessive amount of which you cannot handle or take care of. And I think it's just one of those things where I think people either just have some magical connection with animals, which I can understand, but I really don't. I I see animals as animals, and I don't feel like the connection I would have with an animal would be the same as a connection that I have with a human being. Yes, animals are cute. Yes, they're nice to have around, but I think that there's just a little bit too much of this pet obsession within our culture, and it's almost like, and literally that's one of the questions people ask me like randomly. It's like, oh, do you have any pets? It's like, no, I don't. I haven't had pets actually for a while, and the only pets I've had were bunnies, not dogs or anything. I mean, I'm open to the idea of having pets. I just think that there's a there's too much of a underlying there's just too much of an emphasis, I think, that we put on pets, and for people to have pets. And oh, look at all these horrible animals who are in the shelter, and you see all these commercials about trying to make you feel guilty about the poor animals that are being abused by their owners and all this stuff. And yes, it's really sad, and yes, it's very unfortunate. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to take something in that for one can't handle, and for one that I probably um, I can't appreciate. And two, sometimes there's pets out there who can be like overly aggressive, or can just snap at times. And I mean, I understand having one or two pets, but I think already like overboarding yourself with five pets. I mean, how do you take care of all of those pets? How do you manage the attention between all of them? I just don't understand. And I understand that getting two because one can be a companion to the other and vice versa. But it's just one of those things where I understand the importance of pets, but at the same time, and for people to adopt pets, but I just don't feel like it should be something that we should force everybody to do. And we should constantly be like, "Ooh, look at the horrible animals. It's so sad. Ooh, look at how horrible it is." And oh, we should help out all of the pets. And it's like, yeah, we should. But at the same time, we shouldn't be giving them to, really horrible owners who won't take care of them. Um, so it's just one of those things that I um, I don't really understand. Um, and to be honest, if you were to ask me if I would prefer to have a bunch of cats or children, I'd say I'd rather have children, to be honest. I mean there's only so much you can train a dog or another animal to do. And the way that you can love an animal is I just don't think it's the same as the way you can love another human being. I just don't. And to me, I feel like a human being would be more important to me than an animal. But I know that there's some people out there who will say differently and who think differently in regards to this topic. But I do appreciate pets. I think pets are great. If you enjoy having pets, yeah, more power to you. But for me personally, it all comes down to preferences and the amount of resources that I have. And yeah, if I had the choice and based upon that too, a dog, yes, it may not require the same amount of attention as a child, but it's still almost constantly give it attention. You have to constantly be around it. So I almost don't see a difference there so much. But I mean, to be honest, I'd rather have another human being in my life than an animal. Um, and it's not that I don't like animals. It's just I don't. I understand the connection that people can have with animals, but I just don't feel it's any way or shape or form the same way uh, that I could have with another human being. So yeah, they're great. They're nice to have. They're enjoyable. They can express a certain kind of love that is unique. And yes, I'm not saying that animals are not as, you know, interesting as humans, but the thing is I just don't find I have like a huge amount of connection to animals as maybe some other people do. Yes, I like animals. Yes, I like being around them. But to be honest, I wouldn't want to be around them constantly. Unless it was, if I was like raising it with somebody else, then yeah, I would probably like it a lot more. Um, than raising it on my own. But I mean, I like pets. I just don't. I just feel like that two would be plenty for me, and that's how far I would go. And I just don't see the idea of grooming them and, constantly having them, you know, uh, wear clothes or, carry them around places where they don't need to be carried around to. Um, and again, I think pets can sometimes, at least for me, I feel like pets can be a little bit more of a hassle, especially if you have to take them around with you in the car and they're constantly moving around in the car. It's just they have their I think they have their advantages, but also their disadvantages. So yeah, it would just be too much for me to have more than two. Two is how far I would go. And even then, the thing is too is some people end up getting dogs and cats together, and they have to separate the dog from the cats because the dog doesn't like the cat. So it's like you get all of these pets and yet they can't even get along with each other, and you have to make sure that they're not together within the same vicinity, even though they're supposed to be living in the same really house where you take care of them. So it's like I just don't understand. I just don't get why we have this kind of level of, oh, I need to have this kind of a pet, and then at the same time get another pet that is gonna probably not like that other pet. And might even do damage to it if it were capable of doing so. So yeah, I just don't get it. I have never understood it. But I do understand the idea of having pets. I just don't understand um, the whole obsession with them. I don't see the whole, oh, I need to film my cat because my cat is so cute. And that's the reason too. I don't get why all of these cat videos are suddenly so popular. It's just like, oh, it's cute, but I mean, it's like every other animal. All these animals are cute. I mean, I don't need to watch cat videos. Like, I don't need to see cats constantly. It's just one of those things where I don't understand. Like, I like animals, but to be honest, I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself an animal lover. Um, See, that's the thing. Like, I like animals. I think they're great. Um, I love them in the extent that I could love an animal, but to be honest, I don't think the connections that I made with animals match up to those that I've had with other human beings. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, have a dog, or yeah, I have a cat or whatever, but and even cats too, they like leave pretty much the entire time, and then they only come back for food, and then maybe they'll rub up against you and then they'll leave again. So it's like, okay, I have a pet, but then I really don't have a pet. And so that's why I kind of prefer dogs. So I guess I could consider myself more of a dog person. But to be honest, I've never understood the whole going crazy over having a pet, or the whole I have to go do excessive things that the animal doesn't need, in order to, it's just not what an animal needs. An animal doesn't need to be clothed. An animal doesn't need to constantly have themselves pampered and groomed. They're not human beings. They're animals. So yeah, I think that's just really my understanding when it comes to it. And again, I do find that a lot of the time, a lot of these caretakers who do have an excessive amount of pets can't take care of them, and don't um, and they don't get the special amount of attention that they do because there's too many pets. So yeah, I think that's just really my understanding when it comes to pets. I like them. I just don't think that I would definitely need a pet constantly around me in order to feel like happy or fulfilled in life. I just don't. I just don't find the need to have a pet. I would say probably when I was younger that need was a little bit stronger, but now that I'm more of an adult, I just see kind of just how crazy a lot of the other owners are with their animals, and I just go, no, I'm not gonna not gonna do that. So yeah, that's just kind of my understanding when it comes to this topic. I mean, I think they're great. I think if you want to have pets, that's wonderful. I would even consider having pets at some point, but I could live without them. Let's just say that. I could live without having pets. I could be happy without them. But if they were to ever come along, sure, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take care of two pets, two dogs or something like that. Yeah, good. But in to any amount of fascination or interest that I have in pets is just very minimal. Just very, very minimal. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I think it comes down to people's preferences. I'm sure that there's those that, will say, "Oh, I love pets, and oh, I could have 10 bajillion pets and I'll be happy." And I'll go, "Okay, all right. Just as long as you can take care of all those pets." Great, good for you. But yeah, that's just really my honest opinion about it. I just think that, you know, pets are great. They're great additions, but I don't feel like that they're really as important, at least to me, than they are maybe to some other people. Um, but that's just my honest opinion. I've never really had a lot of whole attachment to pets. Um, More so when I was younger than I am now. Um, Being more attached to pets. But now that I'm older, I just see all of the things that kind of bother me about pets, and I just kind of get turned away from it. And I personally just I'd rather spend time with people than really a dog. I mean, yeah, you can go and play fetch with it. And yeah, you can do certain things with a dog, but it's just not the same to me. Yeah, it's nice talking with them a little bit in a little while, but again, not a complete necessity for me. Not something that I would consider that I would put as sort of a forefront in thinking about, or that I would feel like I would need to have a pet constantly. Yeah, it would be great to have a pet with someone who'd be willing to have a pet. See, the thing is too is my family's never been big with pets either, so um, well, on my mom's side, they always had cats, but even then, I'm allergic to cats, so yeah, we've just never been big on animals. But I mean, I do enjoy animals. I think it'd be nice to have animals, but again, not a huge necessity for me. But if it's a bigger necessity for somebody else, then I totally understand. But ultimately, I think that's really all I can say about this topic. But again, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care.